to cover a lot of information, so if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask them. Put them in the chat area too so we can see that, and we will try to address all the questions as they come up. We will try to answer all the questions. If you can't hear me, let me know. It's hard to tell sometimes with the Zoom work activity whether everybody's getting to hear what's going on or whether you can see what's going on. Please let me know, and I will try to address all the questions as they possibly come up, as well as everything else. Once again, my name is Cooper. I have been really involved with Action Dog Association, and a lot of us dog people don't want to be in front of the cameras, but I have been the one that has been elected to spend a lot of time in front of the camera answering questions. So the first questions that we're going to talk about is, in the December meeting, Action Dog has been asked across the country to do more than just nose work sport and to facilitate some of the other fun things that dog people do. So we came up with a Best in Show format program that encompasses the conformation world, the nose work world, the trick dog world, the cutest dog contest world, and all those past dogs that have achieved goals and honors that oftentimes don't get recognized. And if you know it, like myself, the dog world is extremely vast. It has different avenues. You have more than different types of participation. You have from the UKC to AKC. You have the International All Breed Association. You have all the specialty groups that go on. You have the night hunt groups that go on. You have the shed hunt groups that go on. And there's many, many different aspects of the dog training world that people don't get exposed to. Yep, the internet has been the best friend for a lot of people to get exposed to by YouTube and some of the other network sources that allow people to understand the information. But there hasn't been an organization that has recognized those different activities. So the Action Dog Association started out with the presentation of nose work. And the nose work sport that Action Dog does teaches the dog to find their keys, remote control, your wallet, your glasses, and your cell phone. Those items are the number one items that are lost on a person in a given day. So what happens is the Action Dog Association has gone through and blended commercial scents that represent those items, allowing people to be able to place those that scent on their items and be able to find those items. Well, that turned into from the service dog world, that turned into a competition. And the competition now is a timed event where individuals are trained to find those items in that set period of time. And through the process of this information education piece, I'm going to go through the conformation, the nose work, the trick dog, photo contest, and some of the other things. But I will go through the teaching process of taking my own young dog, who is extremely young, full of energy, and it's the average dog that a person has at home that just is a dog full of energy. And we'll go through the conformation side. We'll do the introduction to nose work. So all the things that you see here, you can accomplish and do at your own home setting. If you have a hallway, you can train your dog. If you have a living room, you can train your dog. Action Dog has really been pushing that people can step out of that confined box of thinking that they can only train at a large facility. That's not the case. You can do a lot of your training in your own home, and then that training that you've done will transfer into your competition settings. Whether it be you put out one card for rally and you work that card in the living room, and then you go down and work a different card down the hallway, and then you do a different card on your about turns or something like that in your kitchen. You can do this training at home because 24 hours a day, your dog's a dog. Half the time a person takes their dog and they train very limited pieces of time when they have vast amount of time that they can be training their dog, and their dog will transfer that information of communication from wherever they're at to the competition setting. When I was a kid, a little bit of background history, my dad allowed me to purchase my first bird dog. Well, I had read all the books in reference to bird dog hunting, and there wasn't really any video VCR type stuff out there. I went to a field trial and watched some dogs work, and I was born and raised in the city. So what I did was I grabbed a bunch of brush from the creek and tied it together, put it on my wagon, and went over to the playground by my house and set up little training scenarios. And I didn't have any live birds, so I bought the bird set that they had available. I made my own little fake looking bird out of pillowcase stuffing and stuff like that, and placed it out in my hunting field. And each day I would go out and work my dog, and he would point and he would point the scented items. Well, I got invited to go hunting with a friend of mine, Mr. McMillan, and I took my young dog. Well, my young dog nailed it. When we went out hunting, he nailed it, but he had never been over live birds. But the interaction of training transferred over to the actual application of the hunting world. So then he hired me to train his dog, which was back, I was probably 7 years old. So it was one of those types of things that I learned at a very early age. It's not the facility that you train at. It's not the open, vast spaces that you train at. It's the command words that you use and just spending the individual time to teach your dog what the command words are. So Action Dog has come together to take a lot of information and put it under a single umbrella. It has never been an honor for a person to get an OTCH title or Canine Good Citizen title or a rally title and get to compete for Best in Show against a conformation group. My question has always been, why not? Because of the logistics of what happens. Well, with Action Dog being able to allow people to send videos in for the conformation side, allow people to send videos in for the nose work side and the trick dog side and the cutest dog contest photos type side, those individuals can now be judged against other individuals in the same setting. Excuse me a second, let me admit some more people. So they can be admitted and they can compete against each other. So the judging process for Action Dog is a panel judging type format. Yes, right now we are still acquiring judges, and yes, right now we still have an open forum where we're taking judges, and our judges have vast different backgrounds. The Action Dog Association and the association titles that are attached to Action Dog are not recognized by the AKC. One, because the AKC has not, well, they've reached out to us in reference to it, but it's one of those types of things is our concept is so different than what they've ever done, it's hard for them to wrap their hands around. So it's just one of those new concepts. It's just like when rally started out, it's just like when dock diving started out, it's just like when obedience trial started out, and the difference between the field trial and the hunt test when they started their differences. Those are the same type of things that Action Dog has done, but it's a new sport that and a new activity that allows people to have fun with their dogs. Also, it allows people to have an educational platform that is open to additional information, open to competition, open to the fun part about the Action Dog scenarios and the Action Dog training test and the Action Dog trials is to watch the people that are truly competitive rooting on other people. It's been just amazing. And you look at the conformation side. The new conformation group that we've done, we have had one trial so far, and the submission of animals that were put in, it's a high grade of animal. You have the most beautiful animals being sent in, and they're judged on the standard. They're judged on the standard, their movement, their DINSHA, and they get an overall critique, something somewhat similar to the International All Breed Association, but it's a judgment of accomplishment and a judgment of existence versus a criticism of what a dog has or doesn't have. It's a great show atmosphere in order, if you're looking at the conformation side, of building your dogs, building your knowledge and information on what you should do in your own personal breeding programs. The nice part about the Action Dog Association is the education side from which the judges have been coming from. You know, we have judges that have lived their life in the competition world of, for example, Schutzhund. And how many of the people that are in the AKC world even know anything about the Schutzhund art, or ring sport, or weight pulling, or any of those other avenues of competition, because they are very rarely seen at a all-breed Best in Show So the overall goal for the Action Dog Association is to be more encompassing, because the more people that you talk to in other avenues in sports, the better educated that you are in your own dog and your own sport. The healthier your dog is, the healthier your breeding program is, the healthier your just your basic knowledge. My wife was telling me the other day that people throw dog questions at me all the time in all different types of walks of life, and I have historic information in reference to those questions. Like a person asked me the other day, why would you want to have a coarse coat on any breed? Well, you have to look back into what those animals were bred for. You look at, for example, the Hungary, the German Wire Bichla, that burr that goes, I had him out hunting this fall, and the burrs that would collect in his coat, and how those burrs just fell out. Yeah, they collect, but they fall out, all because of the type of coat. So you look at the information that's available from the educational standpoint from all the other disciplines of sports, has come together under the best in show type of category in Action Dog. And the reason for that is to be more encompassing. The sports itself, you have these niches of groups, because they never cross to the other side of the fence, never have a communication, because there has not been a platform for people to go to do that. So now Action Dog Association is trying to create that platform. Yes, it's a new concept. Yes, it's a new concept for the obedience person to go head-to-head with the confirmation person. Yes, it's a new concept for the obedience person and the confirmation person to go head-to-head with the trick dog person. And yes, it's a new concept for the obedience confirmation and the trick dog person to go head-to-head with the nosework person. But what we found is we had days of people just watching the sport of action. All these dogs doing these other disciplines, and allowing their dogs to do it. So, gotta mute somebody. Thank you. Mute all. Even though I love the song. Yes, I do love that song. Anyway, let's go here. Okay, so with that said, we'll start out with the confirmation. Now, the confirmation side of Action Dog is mentally thinking of what should your dog be? What should your dog be made up of? How your dog should be put together, and what addresses your dog's total information of being put together. The confirmation, if you look at the confirmation as a sport, it's encompassing. Everything about your dog is written in a standard, and most people understand the standard and go by the standard of their dogs. A lot of people don't even know what their standards are. They've never even pulled it out to read it. So what Action Dog Association encouraged people, before you compete in a confirmation of Action Dog, pull out your standard and just read it. And once you've read it, then you're better prepared to participate in the sport. Knowing the sport. Knowing the sport, it allows you to better understand what your dog should be. And knowing what your dog should be makes you better understand when your dog's healthy or not. So you're going to look at confirmation from the paw up. And I'm going to take a quick break real quick, and I'm going to grab my dog so we can start into the confirmation side. Then we'll go into the nosework side. And the nosework side, we'll do the introduction of one scent. The scent that I will grab, I believe I'm going to grab the phone scent. The scent that I'm going to use to start out with is the phone scent, because that's one of the number one things a person misplaces. if you're looking at what a scent kit looks like, the scent kit comes like this. It has all the 5 scents that you need in order to train your dog in order to do your scent work. I'm going to do the phone to start out with, and then we'll get into the trick dog. I will go through the process of teaching. I'm working on 2. I'll work on one on camera, but my new trick that I'm having him do is go to a place or go to a mat. It's going to give me hunting ability too, so I can send him to a spot. But I'm going to show the process of taking him through that. And then we'll go into the cute dog contest, doing a photo shoot, and give you some ideas on how to set up that photo. My wife takes the studio, and if you ever want to look at what she does with some of the photos of cute dogs, Modana Bulldogs, check that out. Check out the Facebook page, and she's constantly uploading photos that we work on with the Bulldogs. And none of them are cropped or camera or what is it called? They're all, dogs have costumes on. We take pictures. It's fun. It's actually an art in itself, and the dogs enjoy it. You teach them how to have positive commands. You teach them how to be patient and due diligent, and with the aspect of training them, it allows you to teach them ways to behave, and you're able to use it in other places and spaces. Now the Triumph Award is also a very new concept for Action Dog, and we're going to cover that too as well. The Triumph Award is all those dogs that have had histories of wins can be recognized. And we encourage people to have those dogs recognized because it inspires other people to do things with their dogs. All too often people sit back at home and go, well, what should I do with my dog? Or I get the regular phone calls of, well, my dog's a problem in this area, my dog's obnoxious in this area, and the first question I ask them is, have you trained your dog? Well, I went to a puppy class. That's not training your dog, that's just participating in a puppy class. I said, well, have you gone any further than a puppy class? And they go, well, no, we quit early. Okay, so then you failed your dog. Or we had other things to go on. Well, I understand life gets in there, but you're going to have your dog your entire life. So when you have your dog your entire life, the human being is being educated every day of their life. But we take our dog, we take him to 1 obedience class sometimes, or we take him to 2 obedience classes, and we make the belief that the dog is trained. No, the dog's had access to the information 1 or 2 times. Look at the repetitions that it takes for a human being to accomplish some type of goal. So it's hard to eliminate your dog's ability or diminish your dog's ability by not participating in what they do. And the more vast things that you do with your dog, the easier it is to train the next level of something. The easier it is for them to be in the household. I can take, when you see my young dog, and there's been some people that are on this list that have seen him, I say the Oklahoma word with okay, and he's nuts all the time. But if I didn't have command words like stop or no, he would be sometimes unmanageable to live with. But he loves just to work. He loves to be doing something. He loves to hunt. He loves wherever I'm at, whatever I'm doing, that's what he wants to do. So the hard part about that is with the dog that has that much energy, you have to have a communication line that tells them to stop. So the Triumph Award acknowledges those people that have done vast things with their dogs and have gone from taking a dog and introducing it to a scent to a master level, or taking a dog and introducing them to a scent, and now they have their Ox title or their AKC championship title. Those titles are worthy of not acknowledgement. You take a guy that has taken out his dog and has night hunted and has a grand night champion. A lot of people don't even know the work that goes into getting a night champion, let alone a grand night champion. Or a field trial dog that has its junior hunt test title to a senior title to a master hunter title, or a dual champion. You look at many of the pedigrees now, you don't see very many dual champions anymore. Why? Because it takes a lot of work to get your championship title for your confirmation side, and it takes a lot of work for your field trial titles to get the field trial side, bar injury, bar your dog having, having some type of issue happen. You know, because as you look at, excuse me 1 second, as you look at how things go, you're constantly working your dog, and you're constantly having things happen. And I know every single time that I get ready to go to a dog show, I cross my fingers, cross my legs, cross my toes, that my dog's not going to be running around in the backyard and slip and get hurt and be limping the day of the show. Because that just seems to be how it happens. That just seems to be how it happens. So it's like the kiss of death of the day before a dog show, something happens. Well, the nice part about Action Dog is, like we've had some video submissions, which are a lot of fun, because a person can submit their video when they have time and send it in and have it judged during the time frame that their activity is being judged. You look at some of the people that are on the list that are in here, like Jan First, you look at the confirmation world that they participated in, the field trial world that they participated in, and beyond. You look at like Brenda and Larry. You look at the confirmation world that they've been in, the Schutzen world that they've been in, the additional obedience training from 4-H to now. You look at just vast amounts of knowledge of individuals who have been training. And the huge fun part about it for me is you have a whole world that's coming together of just dog people willing to have fun. So right now I'm going to go grab my dog, and we're going to start out with the confirmation side. Now I'm going to do the confirmation. I'm going to do the confirmation side just as if I were going to compete on the virtual confirmation show situation. So I'm going to grab my dog, and I'm going to do a virtual quick show of how I would present my dog as far as the Action Dog submission of a virtual confirmation side, and how that works. And I'm going to use the space that I have. I'm going to do a Stanford exam, so I'm going to give a side profile of my dog. Okay, I'm going to take my dog and I'm going to give a front view of my dog. I'm going to give a rear view of my dog. I'm going to take my dog and I'm going to move the table a little bit out of the way. And I'm going to do a semi-movement in my space so that the camera can witness and view a side gate. And then I'm going to do a down and back so that the movement can be seen. And then I'll move forward closer and I will show my dog's bite. So what I'm going to do for the camera is I'm going to show the camera, because the judges are on the other side of the camera, what they need to see as far as having my dog judge for the confirmation side. Now, in doing this, keep in mind, you don't have to be perfect, but you want to display your dog in the best light that you possibly can, because where you're going in for the competition-wise, and you're participating in a best in show competition, you're going to be judged against everybody else that presents their dog. So you're going to be judged against your breed group. You're going to then be judged against, excuse me, let me back up. You're going to judge against your breed. Then you're going to be judged against your group. And then you're going to be judged for best in show. So you have different levels of the competition where you have opportunity to win. So you want to put your best light forward. So if you're even doing a trick, well, I constantly tell people to save their best trick for last, so that's the last impression that the judge has. So when they move forward, because there's a lot of people that have a lot of fine tricks. And if you want the trick list from the Action Dog Association, the list we're titling, shoot us an email after the fact, and we will get that out to you. A little bit more housekeeping. The Action Dog Association, because of the limited ability to do things, has done a lot of the information and a lot of the competitions online. We were in the process before the virus hit of organizing a nationals and having a sponsorship of people being able to go to a location and doing the nose work sport. And since then, we've grown a little bit, and a lot of other things have been added. But the ultimate goal will still be a good together location where everybody gets to show off their dog from the conformation side to the nosework side and the trick side, and still have an umbrella of a best in show of those particular dogs that have competed on that given day. Now, my ultimate goal would be to have a ring sport and Schutzen competition going on at the same time at that exact same location, just to have the opportunity to have people see those other sports in action, because it's fun to talk about, and it's fun to watch on YouTube, and it's fun to watch on Facebook. But the real joy of watching people's dogs work with them while they're in participation in the sport has always been there for me. People have gone, well, Cooper, you lost to that dog. I'm like, but did you see that dog work? In the field trial, I might have lost by a couple of points, and I go, but did you see that dog work? It's all about standing over behind that dog and just watching that dog work. I took my son out hunting, I mentioned a little while ago. I took him out hunting, and he's, we're going through the woods, and Lieutenant Dan is just working. Rabbit gets up, he goes to chase the rabbit. I said, no game, and he walks off the rabbit because the rabbit was not what we were hunting for. But he acknowledged it, he smelt it, I let him work it a little bit, but I told him to leave it alone. But just to have that communication line with the dog had huge extreme benefits. Okay, so I'm gonna go grab him real quick, and then I'm gonna start with the conformation. After the conformation, I'm gonna grab a different collar. See if I got it close and handy. Grab a different collar. Then I'll do my nose work, and then we'll do our trick, and then cute dog and triumph. I'm not gonna be able to touch upon that, but the concept is there. Is there any questions from the group before we get started? Just to recap, right now we're going to work on the conformation side and teaching doing the conformation. Now, all the stuff that you do in the show ring, you can do in your own personal household. We're going to teach conformation, but even though the process that I'm going through and working the conformation side is valuable for your dog to do the things. It's valuable for the things that you want your dog to do later. So, in a conformation competition, what you're going to want to do is you're going to start by setting your dog up first. And as I said, you're going to give the side view. Stop. You're going to give the side view. And all the stuff that I'm doing now, so when we get back to being able to go to formal shows, other types of shows, he'll be ready. Now, as I work him at home, I want the judge to have a side view. Okay, so I start with my side view first. I start with my side view because I want them to see how my dog's made up. I want them to see the front end. I want them to see the head shape, the ear carriage, the muzzle, the hair. I want them to see the angles of the rear. I want to see how the tail comes into the hip, and the overall placement of my dog. So now I'm going to do a reverse setup. Stop. Stand. Now I'm doing this so that the judge can see in video. Put that thing away. An overall view. As you can tell with this guy, standing still is not what he enjoys doing. Did I say okay? Stop. opportunity to see both sides of my dog. Now I want the front view. Stand. Stand. I want the front view. Stay. 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 Now at this time when I have the front view, I can give the bite. Side. Other side. Good job. And I also wanted to get the rear view. Stop. Stand. You're all twisted. Stop. Stand. Stand. Now I'm going to do a quick go around using the space that I have. Now we had one individual that presented not too long ago where they did not have the space for a go around, so they had a hallway and they did the side gate up and down so they could see the side movement on the hallway this way, and then they did it on the down and back. So you got to see the movement of the dog using the space that they had. More so like if they don't have the space. Stop. Okay. They don't have the space to go around. Easy, easy, easy. Easy, easy. No, no, no. Okay. Easy, 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 easy. You know, that's the first time I've tried that with you. Now I need to do it down and back. Easy, 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 easy. Now, I'll have to play back the video to see what I see within the dog, to see how I can perfect things. But if you were taking a video of yourself and doing the exact same type of training, it would allow you the opportunity to actually see what somebody else is seeing within your dog. Whether you put your phone up on a stand, or you use a camera system, or a video system, however you want to take and submit your information, you can do so. Right? So that allows you to see what you can do in your own household in reference to teaching your dog to do the show routine or the behavior of show routine. So now, I don't want to just stop there. Stand. Stand. I want to teach my dog, stand, to understand what I mean when I say certain words so that therefore I can use them when I'm out at the show. Step. Back up. Back up. No, back up. Back up. But in the video situation, it allows me to train and see what the judge is seeing. Step. Back up. Back up. Stand. No, stand. 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 Step. And in this particular setting, it allows me to do things that I may need to do later, but he's not spooked by it. It's like, just stand. Nope. Good boy, stand. See, so having the community, people always say to me, well, don't teach your show dogs to sit. As you notice, he knows what the word sit means, okay? But he also knows what the word stand means. Stands. Why do I have my dog learning both words? So that therefore, if I'm in obedience competition, I can say sit. And he understands what that word means. And if I'm in a dog show confirmation competition, stand. Good boy. So he has a communication line of understanding what I'm. No, run. Stand. No. Stand. So he has an understanding of what the words I'm asking him to do are in that particular situation. So now, from here, I've done a little bit of confirmation. It gives me, I've put it together enough video for me to either have the judge see when we're doing it live, or for me to do enough video that I can have it recorded and send it in. You know, you can take and record your confirmation work and send it in to have the judge review it during the time frame that it's being judged, or you can participate in the live. The live events to participate online are more fun. No matter what your background is, no matter where you're training at, because what happens to a person when they are forced to start doing the competitions at home, they learn to work their dogs at the environment that they have, whether it be a 4x7 space up. Has not participated in the sport, and I'm going to introduce him to the scent. So I take my scent kit, I open it up, I place it out in my training scenario. Now I'm going to let that scent kit set a few seconds just so that the scent has opportunity. No. Sit. Trying to stay on task. Stop. Sit. So letting the scent set up a little bit so the dog has opportunity to stop. Sit. Wait. Has the opportunity to smell it. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to introduce him and tell him the word that what I want him to go for. And I would say the P-H-O-N-E. And I'm going to have him go search for that. Now, in teaching him, my initial command to tell him to search is going to be the is going to be the name of that item. And the key word that I'm going to tell him is I'm going to tell him to find the name of that item. Leave it. Stop. Once he's put his nose to that item, I'm going to reinforce. Stop. Sit. I'm going to reinforce the command with the positive reinforcement. I'm going to sit. Wait. I'm going to have him introduce the scent. When he smells it, because it's going to be different than everything else that he smelled, he's going to put his nose to it, and as soon as he does, I'm going to tell him to SIT, and then I'm going to reward him with the food reward. Now, the reason why I use food reward is because when you look at what a dog's doing with their nose, they're traveling with their nose to find prey. And once they find that prey, the next thing that they're planning on doing is eat that prey. So what you're doing is you're stepping in between as a human being and telling your dog, use your nose to find something. Once you find it, let me know. And when you let me know, I'm going to give you the reward. Rather than if you're out in the woods, the dog goes and finds a bird, he jumps on that bird, he kills that bird, he plucks the feathers, and he eats it. Well, you're just taking that scenario and training the scenario for your dog to participate in the action of the training that you want. And there's a message. Wait. So now we're going to get started. I'm going to take him through the pattern of how I want him to search. I'm going to start in a scenario the way that I want him to start. Sit. Mindful. he scanned with his nose. He's kind of cheating on me right now, so I would change the scenario. But as you can see, what I'm going to show you again is I'm going to walk into the scent cone as if I have your dog. I'm going to walk into the scent cone. When the dog acknowledges it, I'm going to put him in the position that I want him to take, because I want to teach him to give me a definitive answer when he finds something. Yes, oftentimes the dog will take their nose directly to something and let you know, but if I'm going to go into AKC competition event and I have a scent that's up above my head that he's not going to be able to touch, I need him to go smell that area, give me a definitive direction of where it's at, and give me a definitive sit so that he understands, or I understand, that he's actually found what he's looking for. Rather than, if you notice when we went through real quick, he stuck his nose in the other pockets, okay, and he looked up at me like, oh, can I get the reward now? But if I was in a competition situation and my dog stuck his nose into a pocket like that and he turned back and looked at me, I could be falsely reading my dog that he goes, okay, I think something's there. And it happens, you watch it a lot of times in barn hunt, where the dog goes into a spot that's got the saturated area and the dog's all gung-ho, and he comes back out and looks at its owner, and the owner goes, rat, and there's nothing there. Because they don't teach the dog to give him a definitive answer. So it's imperative that I teach, when I teach my dog the nose work, to give me a definitive answer so I understand what you're talking about. And part of that comes from my background in reference to teaching bomb dogs and drug dogs. When we taught our bomb dogs and they went in and they smelled something, they came back out, we couldn't have maybe. We couldn't have, well, I'm questioning how should I read my dog. Is it a find at this time, or is it not a find? No, we have to have the definitive answer. So in working with this scenario, okay, and I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to do it more direct in showing you how to do it as you're working with that young dog. So I'm going to, I'm going to go through, I'm going to go like this. Good boy, sit. Good boy, sit. Good boy. Now, what I did was, I direct that young dog to the item somewhat. You let their nose do the work, but because there's nothing else in the other spots, and it's the same way when you go to any other competition. There's nothing else in the other spots, so they're smelling nothing. So if you tell your dog to go smell this, there's nothing there. You tell your dog to go smell this, there's nothing there. You tell your dog to go smell, there's nothing there. It's checking out, it's checking out. Oh, sit. Good boy. And then you will continue on. Good boy. Leave it. Check. Good boy. Okay, no more. No more. No more. Stop. Sit. So, in the process of me working him and having him find something, we're also working him to tell him to leave stuff alone, so that therefore he's not always going to try to go back and teach that. So I'm teaching him yes and no throughout the training process. By teaching him yes and no throughout the training process, I have more manageability. I have the ability to manage certain behaviors. Like I can say, take it, and let him play. And he's on his own to play because he's been told to do so. But it gives me the ability to communicate what I need my dog to do. So that particular scenario that we just did as far as scent work goes, it's quick. I did 2 training scenarios real fast with him. The dog doesn't care. But what I want is, I want the dog to follow my direction to go check out an area because I asked him to check out the area. And then once he checks out the area and he smells it, I bring him back and say, okay, there's nothing there. And once I find something, I also teach him to continue to work. Because a lot of times what happens is, as handlers or trainers, is we will teach our dogs to find the one item, and we won't teach them to keep working, so the dog thinks they're done. Well, we have to, if I'm looking for my phone and then I'm looking for my keys or I'm looking for my wallet, I have to be able to to teach my dog to find all those items because I asked him to. Not because the treat's involved, not because the praise is involved, because this is the job that needs to be done for us to survive. So we have to interact and build our dogs to do those types of command training type things in order to understand what we're asking them to do. So you build from one scent to the next scent. No, I know I said it. One scent to the next scent to the next scent, so that you can tell your dog all 5 scents individually and have your dog go find each one because you said, find my XYZ, or find my PDQ, or find my JT, or find whatever the case may be, so your dog can go find those items, go out, come back and find them, and because it's been trained to do so. Okay, I'm going to do one more training scenario. And the nice thing about the scent kits of Action Dog is they don't contaminate your sources. No, leave it. Over here. Sit, stay, wait. Sit, stay, stay. Stay. Mindful. Sit. Good boy. Leave it. Good boy. Good boy. Sit. All done. All done. All done. And as you notice, what I also did when I got done just with this quick scenario, I gave him something else to play with. I took him out of that scenario, distraction, training, but you notice the difference. We had worked the table a number of times, okay? And in his mind, it still had to be there. So he works the table, he comes back, he looks at me, he goes, I'm not discovering it. He gets to the chair, he smelled a little bit of scent on this side of the arm, then went around the corner, he stuck his nose right in it, and as soon as he stuck his nose right where it was, and took a deep breath, I told him the sit command. So as I build him as a puppy, he's going to give me that response on a regular basis as necessary because that's the response he's been trained to do. Any questions on the scent work or introducing your dog to scent in reference to Action Dog? Now, that's just one scent, and all the other 5 scents are the same in reference to the introduction part. You can introduce them. The nice thing about it is you can take your dog that you've trained in the Action Dog scent and do the perfection there, and you can go to any nose work sport that you want. One of the huge benefits that you've trained your dog to do when you do with Action Dog is you teach your dog to walk through the scent that you don't want to the scent that you need. What that gives the dog the ability, training-wise, is that no matter where you go into a competition in any scent competition area, you have contaminated areas. If you look at the nose work sport for AKC, the whole area is contaminated. Okay? No matter how they try not to, because of the scents that they use. They use birch, they use anise, they use, I can't even think of them all at the top of the list. But you're looking at the scents that they use are found in potpourri. So, and they're also using lotions, and they're also using deodorant. So people are walking around with those scents every single day. So you have to teach your dog how to not go to this scent that might be a minimal scent or trace scent to go to the hot scent of the active item or the active scent that they placed in a water source or the active scent that they placed against the wall or behind a trash can or any place else that you have as far as competition goes. Okay, you have that capabilities of scent discrimination that your dog has that you just teach your dog to use a nose the best way it possibly can use its nose. Your dog's nose is like eyes to look at, we can see. The difference is we focus this way. You can teach your dog to do that same type of focus and ignore all the other stuff that it smells. Because if you look at how a dog's able to smell, and we did a seminar on just the dog's nose a couple months back, but maybe we'll do another one. But if you look at the dog's ability to smell, it's a whole different ballgame. We did a training scenario when I was in the military where we had to put out 1,000 perfumes, and the dog had to find a gram of black powder, C4, water gel in the middle of this football field. The dog walked through all those perfumes with ease right to the item without her having a problem with it. So it's amazing how the dogs have the ability to smell things when we can't pay attention to what we can't see how much they're smelling and how much they're identifying. Other questions? There's a whole chat thing going on that I'm not able to see with. Oh, the question about nose work kit. Yes, yes, and yes. What the scent kits are there's 5 individual scents. And the 5 individual scents have been blended. They're blended scents to represent each one of the items. Leave it. Sit. 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 Good boy. Wait. The 5 individual scents were blended to represent the individual items. The reason why the Action Dog came together to blend their own personal scent is so that this scent would not be found in the general public. You won't find it in potpourri. You won't find it in somebody's deodorant. You won't find it in somebody's perfume or cologne. You only find it with the Action Dog to represent the phone, the keys, the wallet, the glasses, and the remote control. Now the individual kit itself comes with an applicator or applier or applicator that you can sit. I know. Stop. Sit. 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 Wait. The 5 cents applicator, so that you can apply the individual scent to your phone, your remote control, your wallet, so you can actually find your own personal items. Everything that's in the scent kit is all the scents that you need in order to compete. So if you were to go to a competition here or go to competition in England, the scents would be exactly the same because of how it's been put together. That way you can train. The disadvantage that people thought they would have when you have a scent kit is that your dog would find somebody else's phone versus finding your own. There's one thing that makes your phone different than anybody else's. As soon as you touch it, you have the combined scent of yours plus the scent of the scent kit, making it your personal item. So your dog can differentiate. If I have my phone, Larry's phone, Sandra's phone sitting there, and I tell him to go eventually. When I tell him to go get mine, he can go get mine because he'll know the difference between my scent and everybody else's scent. So that's one of the advantages of the scent kit. You also look at the scent kit is made to be easily accessible, as well as diminish the ability to contaminate and cross-contaminate. The nice thing about the scent kit is each individual box has the scent and the scent cloth within the inside. And why would I have my dog waste his time doing that? Because of whatever particular reason. But I started thinking about it and watching my wife do tricks with her dog and the joy that she was getting out of it in having her dog play the piano and stuff like that. It's like, so here I am. I'm a big part of the Action Dog Association, and I have never, ever, ever taught my dog tricks. Even when I was a kid, I didn't teach shake hands because I was teaching my dogs to point and fetch and retrieve and quarter and find the gunpowder at my house and that kind of thing. I didn't teach tricks, but my friend Larry, and I have to give him the credit for this. He goes, "Those are all tricks to somebody else. to use common sense, Larry. And it was funny because what he said was 100% correct. Me teaching my dog to find the difference between a wallet and a cell phone, or find a bird, or find this person in a crowd, those are all tricks to somebody else. And I'm like, so I've been teaching my dog tricks all along? Just burst my bubble and say I've been teaching dogs tricks all along. Okay, well, I digress. So, my trick I'm working on him with is, my trick that I'm working on has two folds. Stop. Is I want to be able to send them to a place or a spot because, one, I know I'm going to use it later on in commercial type work. Two, I know I'm going to use it when I'm in the hunting or wine or in the fishing boat. But I also want to be able to use it for when I'm visiting with seniors or I'm visiting with kids. And see, all these, now you look at how I turn a trick into a need. So that's just been my MO of my dog life, is like teaching search work for phones. It's a need for somebody. It's always been a need or progress. So one of those reasons of not teaching tricks was they didn't need to do it. But it's funny because they do need to do it, and they love to do it. So, and just like, there's Jan on here who, Jan, do you still have chickens? You know, anyway. Yeah, I did. And it's funny because I got great joy in watching the videos, but it's all training. It's all training. It's training your dog or training whatever pet that you have to do something that you desire to do. So, I digress. I'm going to have him, go ahead. Oh yeah. Well, see, it's kind of funny that you say that because I when I was a kid growing up, I had a cat that I taught to retrieve. And no, my cat didn't retrieve just small things like little toy rats. My cat had to retrieve a retrieving dummy. Why would you do that? Well, I wanted to retrieve like a dog. Anyway, so I digress. So that was a trick that I had been teaching all along. And my friend Larry, who I'm going to tell him I'm never going to speak to him again because he's now called me a trick trainer. I'm this serious die-hard dog trainer who has now been called a trick dog trainer. I'm hurt. I'm crushed. I was such a serious individual, and now I just train tricks. Thanks, Larry. Okay, so please sit. Good boy. Oh, good boy. Please. No. Okay. Please. Sit. Good boy. Off. Please. Sit. Good boy. Off order. Nope. Sit. Good boy. Now, I'm going to stop while he still likes it or still wants to. Why? Because I'm going to build him up to doing. No, leave it. Build him up to the communicate. Leave it. Command. Okay. No, but I don't want to just do that command. I'm going to try. No, this is raw green material. I am going to work on the shake command. First time. You guys get to witness this. I'm going to try it. Mr. Wait. Sit. So. Oh, gee. Wait. He likes to paw me. Okay. No, sit. Good boy. Good what he'd rather have more than anything else in the world. He could care less about treats. He could care less about his toy. This is all he truly wants from me. That's what he wants. That's what he wants. All the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay, stop. 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 Sit. Now, when we were first talking in the beginning, when I said, if I don't have verbal commands to make him stop, now look how far, I mean, he would just keep going. It would be just total chaos, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But because I have some semblance of some training in him, even though he's a young dog, I don't expect him to be perfect, but he's doing so well for a young dog. He takes commands, he wants to work, he loves to please, but part of that is a trained behavior as well that he loves to help solve. Okay, so now I'm going to do a real quick pose for photo type situation on what a person can do to submit and set up for a photo. Stay. 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 As you can tell, my participant always wants to participate. No. Sit. Sit. Stay. Should we use the chair or should we use the table? I was going to use the table. Stay. Yeah, I mean, it looks like, look at some of these things that you do. A lot of the fun is just setting the whole thing up. Table. Sit. No, sit. Sit. Good voice. No other questions? Once again, thank you guys. I'm Cooper. Big D's Dog Training. If you want to join my Facebook page, you can see what we do on the Facebook side. And you can see my wife's stuff and my Facebook pictures stars this guy here this year from Christmas. You can either look it up under Big D's or you can look it up under Cartrell Cooper, Big D's Dog Training, Big D's